Hari Om. As part of Patanjali Yoga Sadhana, we have discussed types of yamas and now types of niyamas like Saucha, Santosha, Tapas, Swadhyaya, and now the turn of Ishvara Pranidhana. This is the last type of Niyama. Ishvara Pranidhana. It is like abode of God, or the surrendering of ourself to the Lord. So when we talk about surrender, and to the Almighty, we should understand both. Why should we surrender to Almighty? And what is the meaning of surrender? Surrender means, is that a kind of abduction? Or is that a slavery? Surrendering with fear is a slavery. But the surrendering here of the self is that a kind of recognition or realization that I am nothing and with you I am everything. There is a nothingness within us and there is everything within us. So when there is Ishvara, Ishvara is Almighty here, then what else we need? In the absence of Almighty, there is nothing. In the presence of Almighty, everything is there. So, when we have that kind of Almighty, our nothingness is dropped. And when the presence of Almighty is there, we are everything. When everything is there, there is no place for nothingness. Like when light comes, there is no place for darkness. When in the absence of light, there is darkness. Likewise, yin and yang we say. In nothingness, there is light. In light, in darkness, there is light. In light, there is darkness. These are complementary. When this is there, that is not there. When that is there, this is not there. And both are in one another. Likewise, when nothing is there, everything is not there. When everything is there, then nothing is not there. And but these two are complementary, one after the other. The sequence follows. And if we are holding everything, and if we are holding only light, there is no darkness at all. And we take on and off. We have switches in our hands because we are on earth. We are in this karmic cycle. Almighty is beyond that, beyond any time or beyond any karmic cycle. So, our whole motto of life is that we should be away from that kind of cycle and that time zone. And but at the same time, when Almighty is in everything, then how is that He is not even in karmic cycle? He or she or it also. Almighty cannot be measured with any personification. If you are personifying Almighty, then you can take in any form. This is the beauty of Almighty. We can see in our mythology and all scriptures, in all religions, we can find Almighty as superior to all living and non-living things and beyond mind. So, in this connection, we try to become that everything. So, we have plenty of believers on this planet and non-believers, and believers fight with non-believers and non-believers fight that about with believers. But there are both. And when you say I'm a non-believer, that is also a belief. When I say I'm a believer, then you are not believing. We are entangled in this kind of entire system and also in the name of believing what we believe. Many spiritual leaders and researchers, philosophers have spoken about nothingness and everything, dark and light. We have a lot of books on that. So now our point is to understand the surrender. And in that process, we need to understand what Almighty is. To understand Almighty, it is beyond our capacity. For that, only we can experience Almighty and we can become Almighty. But we cannot explain in words. If you are able to explain Almighty in words, then that is not Almighty. We have written many poems. We have praised songs Almighty, but we couldn't describe what exactly Almighty because it is inexplicable. So, Ishvara Pranidhana. So, the abode of Almighty is so beautiful because we have mastered our lives in and around. And maybe enlightened people who are walking on the earth, they have already experienced that. But still they are on the earth for certain kind of purposes, and also they are already into karmic cycle. But when Almighty descends on the earth, it comes in a different form and goes abruptly. And every time we can make Almighty stay with us, but Almighty is never given birth like how we were given. It is a long kind of exploration or maybe a kind of explanation, or that discussion cannot be done in a moment or a time. It is one's own self-experience. So let us not get into that. So, but we have a kind of Almighty. If you believe in everything or if you do not believe in nothing, you believe in the universe or Almighty. When we believe in the universe, there is a negative elements in that too. And do we have capacity to handle those negative elements? But Almighty is superior to all those, so Almighty can include all those. So there is a negative and positive in everything. But as a human being, do we have capacity to handle negativities and also positivities? Both can we take and can we handle? We cannot bear little of negativity. We cannot bear if someone betrays us. If we cannot bear if someone blames us. If we cannot bear if someone disrespects us or insults us. We cannot take these things and we pose those as negatives. And so we are human beings. We want always in lives positive. We cannot take those because it's very painful. And we are nurtured to be good, kind, compassion. All these are beautiful things: gratitude, value, respect. From childhood, we are nurtured with that. And it is very difficult for us to accept negativity. But we should understand why it is existing on this planet. When we have plants and trees, we have weeds too. If the creation doesn't want that weed, then why it is here? So that's a very big kind of discussion which we cannot end up in a day or two, and it is not required either. But we should respect whatever it is there, some or the other way. We are on the planet, and this is completely illusionary. People always talk about reality. They say, you be real. But our lives are unreal. Next moment, if I am there or not, I do not know. And I plan for tomorrow. This is a sarcasm, but we are living with it. 100 years of time with our positive thought. The moment when I go to bed, I think tomorrow I have to do these works. So when I have planned that, there is a positivity in that, and already I'm making an arrangement for tomorrow's life. So with that, maybe I'm alive. So this is how our existence on this planet and our history, when we see that we have served, our ancestors have served many powerful people. Power in the sense, mind power. They are human beings. And they have served so much because few out of fear. Few have accepted it. And few do not know that it is a slavery. And few enjoy doing it. And in all this, processes, they were blamed or they were tortured in the name of slavery. And why that torture has been? And those people, they have not tasted that mercy. Not everyone, but because of few people, the whole history has marked those powerful minds as harsh creatures, and people who served, they were slaves. So now, can we say that as a surrender? Yes, there is that surrender. There is a fear and insecure feeling to be alive on this planet. They served, they surrendered, they were into slavery. Even now, we are some or the other way in the name of families and societies, in the name of religion and certain other systems, power, all these, we are slaves. Those who are in the power, they are slaves for their craving. They are doing slavery for their seats. And those who are supporting them helplessly are all into slavery. Why blame ancestors? We have to blame ourselves. There is no other go. It is running like that. With human beings, it is like that. Even wildlife also we can see the same situation. When we have empathy, this entire world, if it is pervaded with humanity, then the things would have been very different. But of course, there are many people with humanity and godliness, because of which still the earth is surviving. Otherwise, it would have lost its gravity and collapsed by this time. Now, when it comes to Almighty, when we devote to Almighty, that is completely different. People say, oh, when you talk to human, you will have some reciprocation, and the human being may not understand. And when you say it to Almighty or God, then you have some answers or some relief. Why is it so? Sometimes in that pain, when we talk to Almighty or God, we get some relief or sometimes answers, because our mind gets cleared when we flow or when we put our miseries in front of that powerful energy, super energy. With that, people believe. And at the same time, when some things are not happening, then even they blame instead of humans, finally Almighty, and Almighty takes everything. So it is one thing that there is a belief, and in the belief there is a disbelief. You are believing, at the same time you are not believing. When you are praying, you are expecting something and you know that it will be done, or for your solace you are doing. And when you are chiding, then too you know that Almighty is not going to come and hit you like a human being, so you are doing. So you are believing to get some healing. In that too, if you do not understand Almighty, understand not, if you do not experience or feel Almighty, there is obviously disbelief. For example, if we take priests in temple or maybe any place, church or anywhere, when we see that they become mediators to us, if they are properly managed, or if they are giving us soothing or maybe beautiful words, and if they are communicating between us and God properly, the channel is different. We want some medium, that some satisfaction, that they are the messengers of God. They have belief, and if they have belief, that's fine, your message is sent. But most of the times when those priests are genuinely, then really we feel that energy of Almighty and we get it. But there are very few people who in the robes of priests, they are non-believers. I have seen that. I felt, even though they say they are doing service to Almighty, but actually they are not doing. They are the real atheists. Priests or few, not everyone, I do not want to generalize. Not every priest is a believer of God. There are few who are non-believers. They are real atheists, because when they pass on the message, when they take currency or some gifts in the name of God, and they loot people mercilessly, that means they do not have belief in Almighty. If they are having a belief of Almighty, then they would have not wished for such kind of gifts. It cannot be called as gifts. It's a loot in the name of devotion. Okay, that is a different thing. Very few we have such kind. Maybe better we do not see such kind of priests or such kind of disbelief in Almighty. Now, the surrender or the slave, it's not a slavery, but surrender with love is a different thing. There is a beauty in that. You have understood there is Almighty in everything, and you admire that Almighty, and you have seen such a beauty, and you are finding that beauty in everything. And even in nothingness, whatever you see, there is a beauty. And you see the presence of Almighty. So that becomes a devotion. Devotion is you are devoted to Almighty. Almighty is not a person or anything. It is the energy in you. It is the breath in you. That breath is connecting it to the Almighty. And where it is going, you're not aware. It surely connects the cosmos. You are getting that prana shakti. And even that breath, we are connected with that. That is how, when Gautama the Buddha, he sat down, has given very beautiful kriya, anapanasati. Just you have to sit down for hours together, folding your hands, clasping, and you should watch your breath, that's all. And you get enlightened. Of course, enlightened people, they say it is very easy. And for that, enlightenment is easy or something, but it's a package of all these virtues. In that virtues too, we should be elastic. We should not be rigid with virtues either. We should know, like that Krishna Tattva, Lord Krishna and Lord Rama are all great descendants on this planet. In all different religions we have, with different names. Especially when we talk about Krishna Tattva, he is flexible about virtues, like we have already discussed in Yama, how a truth should be, how a non-violence to be, ahimsa, satya, saucha, niyamas. Likewise, to understand Krishna Tattva, you should become Krishna. And as a package, you get Radha. Instead of becoming Radha, you become Krishna yourself. And you will understand the processes that are carrying on this earth. And you can understand or experience what Almighty is. Beyond all, but in everything. So beauty, we can only praise Almighty, but as we already discussed, we cannot express what that Almighty is. Very beautifully in Bhagavad Gita, there is one shlok in chapter 12, Path of Devotion. And whom does Almighty like? So normally we always want every human being to be like Almighty. With that intention only we love people, we marry people, we expect from our relationships that everyone to be the best. And how I am, that is a different thing. How you are, it is a different thing. Everyone sees Almighty in everyone and they expect them to behave like Almighty. All beautiful virtues, if you have in your partner or in your relationships, like in your parents or your children or your grandparents or all your friends, kith and kin, then you are happy. So, when you have Almighty kind of people with you, only then you are happy. So, your happiness is not possible. So, instead, expecting in that way, it is better you become Almighty so that everyone will experience that Almightiness through you. You be of that quality. So instead of expecting and making everyone into Almighty, it is better you become Almighty. So that's why it is the most easiest thing is that we become Almighty. We experience, we feel. So in that, here in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, in that avatar of Almighty, Lord Krishna appeared like normal human being, but in that, while explaining Bhagavad Gita, the form of Almighty has come to him. He explains how Almighty expects a human being to be. And in the sense, Almighty never expects, but who is dear to Almighty? This is so beautiful actually. That shloka, always, every day I read to become that. I try. I'm a human being, right? Adveshta sarvabhutana Maitra cha Nirmamo nirahankaraha Samadukka sukakshami Santushta satatam yogi Yatatma druda nishchayaha Mayarpita mano buddhi Yo matbhaktas same priyaha. This shloka gives the essence of dearest devotee, how a devotee should love Almighty or devote to Almighty or surrender to Almighty. So that which means so who is ever content, who is self-controlled, possessed of firm conviction, steady in meditation, with mind and intellect, dedicated to me in the sense like Almighty. And also the person should be ever content and not agitated or affected by anything. And also who is balanced in ego and happiness, sadness, that person who is free from anxiety, envy, fear, and always loves others, This kind of, and many more such, he explained about. And that kind of devotee, or maybe the individual, is dear to Almighty. So in this, is there any slavery? No. You are free from slavery. You are beyond your mind and you're out of control of your mind. This is not madness or insane. That is a disease. But here, the contentment factor, whatever niyamas and yamas we have discussed, everything comes under this one shloka. Even though this is not a Patanjali Yoga Sutra, that definitions, but this is included in that. This beautiful shloka gives the entire essence of devotion. I really love this shloka. This is the essence, that contentment and free from all kinds of miseries, and seeing happiness or sadness, everything is one and the same, balanced in ego and pain. Such a beautiful thing. When you are doing this, you need not perform even puja or maybe any kind of ritual or any kind of devotion. This itself is a devotion, and this itself is a surrender. So when you have achieved all these things in life, then you have crossed all kinds of oceans of life, or even have crossed the path of enlightenment, and you have reached that zone where Almighty is resting. The position of Almighty. You are a kind of Almighty. You have become Almighty. Even though you are in this body, in a karmic cycle, you are no more in that attachment. You are walking free from all these cycles. And when you are 24/7 in the presence of Almighty, how beautiful you will be. And sometimes people question that, oh, if everyone becomes like that, what is going to happen to this earth? But when everyone becomes, then we have to think. One day it should happen. Then how beautiful this earth will be. I think the eruption of volcanoes, the threats of tsunamis and floods will all end, I think. I feel so. And when you are seeing Almighty in everything, is there anything for you to offer God? Nothing. The fruit you're offering is also Almighty's. The water you're drinking or you're giving to Almighty in your rituals is also already Almighty's. Everything is Almighty's, and you're offering the same. Even in the scriptures it is written, Vedas, Upanishads, and in all religions, when you see that, there is nothing that we are eligible to offer Almighty other than our mind and heart. Those are only the tastier fruits that we can offer with love. And that is surrender, and that is the beauty. That is Ishvara Pranidhana. So we are always with Almighty. So being like this, can we be in family? Or can we be attached with the society? No, we need not be attached or detached, but we can be with the society, we can be in the families. It is possible. We need not renounce to acquire this. Of course, certain times in between, some deviations or happens because we are in families. But